Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and we got some Raiders cut candidates. I never like doing these shows because, you fall in love with some of these players, you get to know them personally, and then to make a show like this talking about moving on from them, it is difficult, but after all, it is my job. So we will get into some of these names, but as it stands right now, the Raiders have 47 players under contract. Their current salary cap is $20.13 million, which is 9th highest in the NFL. And there's been multiple reports out there that Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are going to be aggressive and they're going to be looking for their guys. This is what Jeremy Fowler had reported in the month of January. Meanwhile, in Vegas, I have talked to a few people around the league who expect coach Josh McDaniels and general manager Dave Ziegler to continue aggressively tweaking the roster. McDaniels is big on culture fits and will want his own guys. So you're going to see some of the players that are shown here that, I'm going to be real, it's not that I want the Raiders to cut them. That's not what this show is. This is me sitting down, looking at the roster, looking at how much money these guys can save pre and post June 1st, and also thinking, okay, if they want their own guys, if they want culture fits, they could potentially move on from some players that I personally like. So the order of players that you're going to see here on this cut video is the order of highest cap hit of what they would make in 2023, which means the number one guy on the list, it's your quarterback, Derek Carr. His cap hit in 2023 would be $34.88 million. If you cut him, you save $29.25 million. You're going to end up eating $5.63. The Raiders must move on from DC by February 15th because of his contract. If they don't move on from him by then his contract becomes fully guaranteed. But there's been a lot of stories out there. There's been a lot of reports. It could even end up going down even sooner because of the fact that he made the Pro Bowl, and if he gets hurt in the Pro Bowl, then the Raiders committed to paying him his entire 2023 salary. So with all that being said, DC coming off one of his worst years as a pro. 24 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, a 60.8% completion percentage. What the hell is going to happen with Derek Carr? I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show, which means you're going to get hit with a YouTube ad break while the ad is playing. I want you to scroll on down and let me know what you think is going to happen with DC. Type T for trade, or I do want you to type C for cut. My answer is 60% chance that Carr is traded and 100% chance to remember the name. No, it's a great song, but 100% chance that he's not on the Raiders this next season. I will say, last week I was probably at like 80% trade, 20% cut, and it continues to go down and down and down. The fact that Sean Payton was just traded, I think that could be an interesting trade situation. But no matter what, Carr's not going to be on the team. And the whole cut possibility is becoming a much more possibility. If you love the Raiders and you want to join the Raiders Report family, hit that subscribe button, man. If you like free videos every day, I think we're the right channel for you. If you're watching this live, we go live every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, unless there's a snowstorm, and then, we got to go live about an hour early. Hit that sub button. If you're wondering, Mitch, what other videos have you put out? Well, luckily for you, I got videos around Derek Carr destinations. I got blockbuster Derek Carr trade ideas. We got free agency, draft, all sorts of different videos. If you're a diehard Raider fan, I'll prove to you why we are the number one Raiders channel out there on YouTube. And if you don't like what you see after a week, move on. It's free. You got nothing to lose. Let's go to the next player here. It's Andre James. So last season, James played 964 snaps at center. His cap hit, 8th highest on the Raiders, $6.98 million. If you cut James pre-June 1st, you save $5.1 million. You're going to eat $1.9 million. However, if you cut Andre James after June 1st, you save $6.5 million. And you eat only $480K. The rules to post-June 1st cuts are NFL teams can only have 2 players with post-June 1st cut designations. So we'll hop in our time machine. Remember last season when it was Corey Littleton, Carl Nassib, Nick Witkowski, all obvious cuts. The post-June 1st cuts were Carl Nassib and Corey Littleton. And some of y'all are like, all right, well, what's the difference? Here's the exact definition of a post-June 1st cut. With a post-June 1st designation, a team is required to carry the player's full cap number until June 2nd, even though he is no longer part of the roster. The player's salary comes off the books at that time unless it's guaranteed. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because Andre James could be a post-June 1st cut. I would not be surprised if the Raiders decided to move on from him because he's not a Raiders guy. They also drafted Dylan Parham. I believe Dylan Parham can play center if they need him to. Was James pretty good this season? I'd say he was average. 964 snaps, an overall PFF grade of 62.8, a pass blocking grade of 64.5, a run blocking grade of 59.3. His stats had 3 penalties against him. Allowed 2 sacks, 5 hits allowed, 24 pressures. But if you're telling me right now I can cut him, save the extra money, and go out and maybe bring back a Jermaine Illuminor, upgrade the offensive line a little bit more, I just believe that that's what the Raiders would do because, again, Andre James is not a Josh McDaniels, and he's not a Dave Ziegler guy. So what do you think should happen for the Silver and Black? Should the Raiders cut Andre James? I know it's going to be probably a very popular talking point on this video, and I've been pretty spot on with my cut candidates in the past. If you don't believe me, go check them out. Give me a yes. Give me a no. Should the Raiders cut Andre James? I know one thing. I'm trying to cut some inches on my waistline, and that's why I really wanted to start with our awesome sponsor, Athletic Greens. And if y'all haven't already tried, go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. The Raiders Report is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted immune support and one of the supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. My grandma always said the early bird gets the worm. AG1 inspires and motivates me to get as many worms as possible every day. Shout out to Grams. AG1 really helps me getting my day started. Getting out of bed, especially after some of our shows, man, it can be difficult. I'm a person who likes and needs a routine. AG1 helps me stick to my healthy routine, wake up early, take my AG1, chuck for a walk, and hit the gym before work. Covering my nutritional basis for the daily literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing each morning. Done. Simple. I also like it because it costs less than $3 a day. Pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients. It's a win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreen.com/chatsports. Check it out. Link's going to be available for you guys in the comments and in the description. And yeah, that's Chuck, my dog. He's pretty freaking cute, I know. Let's go to the next cut candidate here on our Raiders Report video. It's Bilal Nichols, and I am a little bit surprised that he's on my list because I had high hopes for Bilal. His cap hit in 2023 is $6.69 million. That's the 9th highest on the team. If they cut him, you save $3.13 million, but you eat $3.56. He played 789 snaps at defensive tackle last season, and there was a large part of the season I couldn't even tell if he was on the field. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, remember, last offseason, I told y'all he's got a meniscus injury. He's dealing with a knee injury. Nobody reported it for the Raiders, and I was told that that really slowed him down. It did. Anytime you're this big and you got a knee injury that slows you up for 2 months, it takes a little time to get going. And in the beginning of the year, he wasn't very good. I am curious to know if it was like the help of Jerry Tillery and Jermaine and all these other players that maybe boosted him up a little bit. But near the end of the year, Bilal started to pick it up. So maybe they're like, all right, he played well at the end of the year. We'll keep him. However, though, if you give me another performance that I got this past season, there's going to be a lot of angry Raiders fans out there. According to PFF, 55.5 overall grade, a run defense grade of 48.9, a pass rush grade of 66. The thing that does help out Bilal Nichols is, let's face it, the Raiders' room here is bad. Andrew Billings, free agent. Jerry Tillery, free agent. Kyle Pecco, free agent. So the only guys that aren't free agents are the 2 rookies, Neil Farrell Jr. and Matthew Butler. This is a weak defensive tackle room. If you move on from him, you're going to put yourself in a really difficult situation. Let's go to the offensive side of the football now. Another cut candidate, running back Brandon Bolden. His cap hit is $2.85 million. That's the 11th highest on the Raiders this season. If you cut him, you save $2.23 million, and you're going to eat $625K. Last season, he played in 82 offensive snaps. That was 7%. On special teams, he played in about 70% of the snaps. All I'm saying is this. Early on in the show, I talked about McDaniels and Ziegler keeping their guys. or wanting their guys. Brandon Bolden is one of their guys. But for the love of God, if you're telling me right now I can save $1.6 million, save, between the dead and cap hit and all that, if I can save money by moving on from Bolden, who played in 82 snaps, I mean, what the hell are we doing here? I just don't understand why you'd bring him back. I get that they wanted him to be out there. He was not good in third down. He was replaced by Ameer Abdullah. He was not very impressive in special teams. I would rather invest my time and my energy bringing back Josh Jacobs. Hell, I'd rather bring back Ameer Abdullah for those third down screens. Brandon Bolden should be cut. What makes me nervous is he's a McDaniels and Ziegler guy, and I'm not sure if it actually goes down. So how about this? We're in Vegas, right? You got your chips, okay? I want you to put your chips on the table. If you had to guarantee, I'm talking guarantee one player on the Raiders guaranteed to get cut, can't say Derek Carr. Who would it be? I want to see. Let's go to the next cut candidate here, and this is a player that I actually like, and it pains me to put him on the show, but the only reason why he's on the show is because for whatever reason, doesn't really seem like McDaniels or Ziegler are all that big of a fan of him. So his cap hit is very minimal at $1.36 million. It's the 14th highest on the team. If you were to cut him pre- and post-June, you see that there's differences there, but realistically for this amount of money, I don't see the Raiders making him a post-June first cut, but I wanted to show you all the money anyway. His snaps on defense, 68 defensive snaps. That's only 6%. And then on special teams, 57% at 260. So you got Malcolm Koonce, who's playing at 57% of the snaps. Also, Brandon Bolden was 57 as well. So, not a lot of play there. And if he's not getting run and they want to bring in their own guys, Malcolm Koonce clearly wasn't one of their guys. Do I believe that the Raiders could have been better off at times putting Koonce on the field? Yeah, I agree with that. He didn't light up the stat sheet, but I do think when he was on the field, he at least did a pretty good job. And for a Raiders defensive end group here, you got Chandler Jones, who's dealing with an injury. We'll see what happens with him. Furl, Bauer, Isaac Rochelle, they're all free agents, so they are a little bit thin, so moving on from him might not make a lot of sense. But when you really sit back and you think about it, right, you got Malcolm Koonce, got an overall grade here of 64.0, these aren't even the right grades. So you got Malcolm Koonce, who's kind of bounced around a little bit in the NFL. I don't see why the Raiders would move on from him because they do need the extra help, but it wouldn't surprise me if McDaniels just decided to do it. The final name on here is Amik Robertson. And I saw somebody just ask in the live comments, Mitch, what about Anthony Averett? He's a free agent. Amik Robertson got a cap hit, 17th highest in the league, or on the Raiders, at $1.13 million. If you cut him, you save $1 million. You're going to only eat $124K. He played 677 snaps, 60% at corner. I loved Amik Robertson. I still think Amik is a dog, and I said that since the day he's come out of college. And he got better and better and better as the year went on. But the Raiders, when they first started out the season, they didn't give Amik a lot of move. And because of the injuries that happened, that then opened the door for Amik Robertson. Well, if they want to start bringing in some more corners in the draft or some of their own guys, that could put Robertson in a difficult situation. I would not cut Amik, but with this coaching staff, literally anything is possible. When you look at Robertson's PFF grades, overall at 64.1, 74.5 run defense grade, a coverage at 61.3, which is realistically what I look for when I judge my cornerbacks. His 2022 stats, he was targeted 64 times, gave up 39 grabs, 545 yards, and a quarterback rating of 96.2. His rookie year, he gave up a QB rating of 149. His sophomore year, 132. This past year, 96.2. And as the year went on, Amik started to look like he was starting to fit in his own. I don't want Robertson to get cut because I think he's a good player. Also, on top of that, he adds a lot of depth to the Raiders secondary, which, let's face it, they could use it. Also, y'all, I'm going to be going live on Locals for a Raiders mock draft, so be there February 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Join it. It's going to be for supporters only, so hopefully you're there over on Locals, RaidersReport.locals.com. All right, we're going to put a bow on today's Raiders cut candidates. Here are the cut candidates. Derek Carr, quarterback. Andre James, your center. Bilal Nichols, defensive tackle. Brandon Bolden, the running back. Malcolm Koonce at defensive end. And then Amik Robertson at corner. The guys that I'm willing to bet on, Derek Carr, gone. He's the only guy I'm really willing to bet a lot of money on. I would move on from Andre James. Bilal Nichols is a coin flip to me. I would move on from Brandon Bolden. I would not move on from Malcolm Koonce or Amik Robertson because they give the Raiders some depth. So name a player on the Raiders guaranteed to get cut. And we're also going to answer some Super Chats because I just saw another one roll in here from Cameron Sproul. And then once the Super Chats are done, we will end today's show, and we're going to send this bad boy to loop. Cameron, what's up, brother? Oh, okay. All good. The bottom line is Brady is not taking anyone to the playoffs next year. I disagree. I think if you put a good team around him, he can do it. I mean, the Bucs, they made the playoffs. And the Bucs did it with a horrible offensive line. I'd say worse than the Raiders. Yeah, they had a great defense. They had the worst running game in the NFL. I just disagree with. We're just going to agree to disagree on this one. I think you're a Derek Carr guy. You would say Derek Carr is better than Tom Brady, which I think is a crazy thing to say. But that's okay. You can have your opinion. I'm going to have my opinion. We're going to disagree on it. Only one way to find out, though, which that's what makes the NFL fun, man. All right, so give me a player guaranteed to get moved on from. Trading Mullen made room for Amik. Relax from Anonymous. I hear you. I like the Trayvon Mullen trade. I like Amik Robertson. I just got to put together a list of names that from a money-saving standpoint and from them potentially wanting their own guys going forward. That's where this conversation starts to get going. So that's why we're here. But it is what it is. He was drafted in 2019 in the 4th round, wasn't one of their guys. And if Cleveland Ferrell isn't on the team next year, which I don't think that he's going to be, he would be the only dude left from that 2019 class. That's kind of surprising. Kind of mind-blowing, really. You go back and you look at that. Wait, was he 2019? Now that I'm thinking about it. Nah, I think it was he. What was Amik Robertson? Now I got to figure this out. Was he 2019 or 2020? I'm getting my years all mixed together. 2020 class, yeah. Okay. I was going to say 2019. That doesn't make any sense because that'd be year 5. Sorry, y'all. We're going a little crazy here at the end of the show. I know. I see. Cameron, not a Carr guy. I'm a Rodgers guy. I'm a Rodgers guy, too. Rodgers is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. But, Cameron, would you give up, I don't know, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks to get Rodgers? If you could guarantee me that Rodgers is going to play for the next 3 years, sure. Nobody can guarantee that. I don't think that he's the right guy to build a team around. And I think when you see all the reports from past players, it's just Rodgers cares about one person only. Cares about Rodgers. And I just don't think that that's the way that this team needs to end up going. All right, guys, so this is what's going to happen. We're going to end today's live show. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. The reason why we went live a little bit earlier today is because we had some pretty wild weather down in Dallas, so hopefully you all understand that. Everybody, again, if anything happens, hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. You're going to be getting a lot more videos this week, so stay tuned on that. The next time that I'll be live, unless there's breaking news, will be Tuesday. Next week, we're going to do an extra Raiders live show on top of that, which is going to be on Thursday night, and then we'll be live for Super Bowl, so I'm excited about it. Another Super Chat rolling in here from John. Who do you see as the Raiders' interim head coach if Josh couldn't coach for some reason? Probably Patrick Graham. I'd say they'd probably give it to either Patrick Graham or Carmen Brasillo. Those would be the top 2 guys that I would look at. I don't really believe that they would go with Mick Lombardi, their offensive coordinator. I think the biggest reason why Mick Lombardi was hired as OC is because McDaniels wanted to be the main guy in charge of the offense. But I would say Patrick Graham or Carmen Brasillo would be the interim head coach options. Trying to think if there's anybody else. Yeah, that's probably the top 2 guys that I would go with. All right, guys, heading out of here. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Be safe. Be smart out there. And always remember, love y'all. Appreciate you guys. Have a hell of a day. And again, if you can hit me up on IG, give me some dog food recommendations for Chuck, I would greatly appreciate it.